We are thrilled to be presenting our scoping review of ethics across SIGCHI. We hope this short video entices you to read the full paper later. We also hope our work inspires many others seeking to understand how ethics can be applied to designing interactive systems. We will start by explaining our motivation to conduct the scoping review. Digital technologies can affect human lives at ever-increasing scales and in ever more intimate ways. Algorithmic bias, political interference, hate speech, misuse of personal data, deceptive interfaces. Without a substantial commitment to ethics, interaction design fails to consider fundamental aspects of human existence, such as freedom, fairness, and welfare. It is clear that there is a pressing need for researchers and designers to acquire knowledge and find ways to more meaningfully engage with the concept of ethics. Ethics can be understood as the search for guiding references to drive responsible choices for complex questions of the implications of digital innovation. Ethics refers to the act of remaining responsive to the possibly undesirable futures enabled through careless design and research decisions. We conducted the following scoping review to understand better how to put ethics into practice. A scoping review is a systematic description of previous research about a topic. It is an effective method for identifying knowledge gaps and clarifying concepts across a body of literature. Our goal with this review is to provide an overview of the ethics landscape across SIGCHI to support professionals looking to fortify orientations towards ethical thinking and doing. We searched the ACM Digital Library for full-length publications at conferences sponsored by SIGCHI between 2010 and 2020. Our search query targeted papers with ethic within title, abstract, and author's keywords. The evidence sources gathered through this method were analyzed to answer the following research questions. Which ethical considerations, technologies, and user groups have been the subjects of the published papers? Which approaches, methods, and theories have been employed to explore ethical considerations in these publications? And what practical recommendations for putting ethics into action have been reported and discussed? We now highlight some of the key findings we got in this review. We have identified 461 articles through our search strategy, and these articles were screened. 129 papers were included in the sample. The vast majority of these papers have been published at CHI, with publications from these composing the second largest group. We have identified a growing trend in the number of papers about ethics, especially in the last 3 years. Regarding the ethical considerations discussed in these papers, we found that they most often speak of 3 main groups of concerns: autonomy violations, potential harm to users' well-being, and social injustice. We found that discussions about artificial intelligence are predominant in the sample in terms of technology types. Most papers have children, workers, and patients as target user groups, while fewer papers focus on minorities and rural populations. Regarding approaches to exploring such ethical concerns, we have found that most papers apply participatory and qualitative methods to collect empirical data. When it comes to theoretical orientations, value-sensitive design and critical design are the frameworks most frequently employed. Several practical recommendations for putting ethics into action have been reported and discussed. Researchers are advised to reflect on informed consent procedures, provide direct benefits for participants, foster inclusion and diversity, and respond to signs of distress. User experience designers are advised to support more transparent communication, consider mechanisms for data control, consult domain experts, and become aware of how products can perpetuate systems of oppression. Ethics is perceived as an individual and collective responsibility. Professionals are advised to remain mindful of their choices, and users should be made aware of the risks of technology adoption. Ethics education is promoted by many, but the role of regulations and policy is advised to be critically discussed. Details about this and other findings can be found in the paper. To conclude this video, we want to highlight some key takeaway messages that summarize the implications of our findings. First of all, technology creation and adoption can unfairly affect not only personal, but also socio-political spheres of human life. Building more ethical systems can start by integrating ethical lenses into well-known user-centered design methods. However, no single framework offers definitive answers. Theory helps capture divergent viewpoints for robust argumentation. Unfortunately, without harmony across the roles of organizations and regulatory entities, it is challenging for individual professionals to know how to act. As a final reflection, some may wonder why we should dare to care about ethics in the first place. Committing to ethical thinking means leaving behind a position of indifference for a path readily permissive of definitive answers. However, we might find the motivation to recognize that this is perhaps the only means of pursuing and achieving the human flourishing for which HCI has striven all along. Inhabiting privileged positions as producers and propagators of knowledge, we have a shared responsibility to shape our actions so that they serve not only our own goals, but the common good, in solidarity with the aspirations of those who comprise our surroundings, and indeed our planet. Thank you for watching this video, and please reach out to us if you want to continue this discussion.